All right, we've got guests in the studio. Suzy Owen and Cody Patterson from OPO Law is here. We're going to discuss a little bit what's going on over at Chiquita Canyon. And, well, first of all, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
We're so happy to be here.
And
Yes, we're happy to be here.
I'm
It's
glad
great.
you too. I was to make sure you were happy to be here.
I am. Yeah, it's
Okay,
great.
good. Why don't you guys, first of all, before we get rolling, tell us a little bit about OPO Law.
Yes.
Well, we are located in Valencia. We have been in this community for nearly 50 years.
Wow.
And so we like you are the hometown station, we like to think of ourselves as the hometown law firm. And we do everything from your traffic accident, slip and falls, but also big mass torts like Chiquita Canyon. And we have multiple attorneys, and we are always available.
That sounds great. I like all the driving tips or the tips that you have on your ads about things to do for your car to make sure you're ready for winter driving. I love that. Very helpful.
Thank you.
Winter driving.
It was winter
I
at one
grew up in
point.
Boston. Now you need winter driving tips there.
Yeah.
Here, it's whether you have the top up or your top down.
Winter in California.
anyway.
If it is 60 degrees.
It's winter here, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
California
wow.
girl, I agree with her.
Wow, here we go. Okay, and Cody, why don't you give us the 80,000-foot overview of what's happening at Chiquita, and then we can get into the particulars.
Sure. So Chiquita is a landfill here close by to Santa Clarita. And recently, the amount of gases that have been released from there was starting to significantly increase. And the neighbors closest to it, within about a 7-mile radius, started to notice, a large increase in headaches, nosebleeds, and overall annoyance. And they started complaining to their local leaders, government leaders, boards, homeowners associations, and to the dump landfill about it. And as the investigation's been ongoing, there's an underground chemical fire that has continually increased, and they have not been able to stop it. And it's continually gotten bigger and bigger, and it's caused great problems. And as you've seen in the news, Supervisor Barker has gotten involved, and so have senators, and it's become a great problem for the area out there.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And it's a close-knit community too out there. They're very much into helping each other out and what have you. We got to go for a commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into the particulars about what's happening. If you just joined us, we've got Suzy Owen and Cody Patterson in from OPO Law. We're talking about what's going on over at the Chiquita Canyon landfill. And Sonia and Joe will be back with you in a minute. You're listening to Trending SCV here at KHTS, AM 1220, FM 98.1.
To tell people who we have in our studio
We
today.
have Suzy Owen and Cody Patterson in from OPO Law, and we're discussing what's going on over at Chiquita Canyon right now, because I know many of you in and about the community don't really even know what's happening on that side. We're a big community, so it's kind of hard to keep up with everything. And so let's talk a little bit about what's going on, the potential damages, and the damage that's being caused by the leakage.
Well, first of all, people may be having physical reactions to the chemicals that are being released into the air. We don't know what the long-term effect is of those chemicals at this point. So they may or may not be having a physical reaction. It could be nosebleeds, it could be headaches, it could be dizziness, those sorts of neurological things. It could also be like stomach upset. But other things include the reduction in your property value.
Oh, sure.
These people who live close to the landfill, they're having to move away because they can't take it. They're trying to protect their children, protect the elderly, and moving to another area, but they are unable to sell their houses.
I was gonna say, they have to
because
disclose that.
Who wants to move into some place that it stinks, literally,
Yeah.
and it varies from day to day. But what people need to keep in mind is that it's not necessarily just physical. Because we don't know the long-term effects, anyone who lives in the Santa Clarita area, we are in the Santa Clarita area, they should be signing up as plaintiffs in this case. Because I'll give you an example. In the Porter Ranch gas leak case, which had 38,000 plaintiffs, the primary factor which determined settlement value was the distance from the gas leak. So while I can't guarantee it's going to be the same in this case, I can't talk about that right now because we're at the very beginning stages of litigation. I can guess that the distance from the landfill is going to be an important factor in determining value of each claim.
Are we testing different areas in and about the valley to see what kind of
That's a good
effect?
question.
Yeah, so the government is taking the lead usually on those types of things.
Okay.
And we do obtain that data from them to see what testing they resolve from that. And that is used later on in the civil case. So it is helpful that there is a government track and also a civil track going on at the same time, because that does put a lot of pressure on the landfill owners to resolve the issues as quickly as possible.
And the urgency, and it's not a sales pitch, but you need to get in on it now so you know how many potential, I don't want to call them but potential people that have been affected by this, and you could start getting your information together, correct?
Absolutely, and we will be filing lawsuits in groups. It's expensive to file a lawsuit, and so those costs are not borne by the clients, by the
Right.
plaintiffs, unless and until there is a positive resolution in the case. So we file in groups. So when the case does resolve, the cost is spread over a large group of people rather than one family having to bear that expense.
So that's a class action. So you were going to talk about the differences.
Sorry, I interrupted
no,
there.
No, that's perfect.
Well, no. So there is a class action that has been filed. And that's a really interesting thing because in my mind, it's not applicable here. A class action, as you would typically think of it, is picture the notice you get from your cable company that says there's a class action, everybody was overcharged $2 on their bill. And you really have to do nothing except wait for your check. That is when everyone has the exact same damage.
Okay, got
That's
it.
not the situation here. There will be people who have extreme illness. There are people who have no illness. There are people who live very close to the landfill, people who live 5 miles from the landfill. So everyone is not going to have the same
Gotcha.
amount of damages.
Okay.
And so in that case, it's just called mass tort litigation. There are people who file class actions, as well as people who will go out and do town halls with the thought of, oh, we're giving you information. What we have seen throughout our decades of doing this kind of work, that is often just a client grabbing technique. In this case, things are happening daily. So we are posting on social media what the updates are so that everyone has access to it. There are people in this community who don't have access to transportation to get to one of these town halls. This way, everyone has access. If you have access to a computer, which even if you, or a phone, and if you don't have that, those are available at the public library.
Very good.
And just to add to what Suzy said regarding the class actions, we represented thousands of people in the Porter Ranch gas leak case that were already part of a class action, and we represented them as individual claimants, and they ended up obtaining much more as individual claimants than they did as part of a class action.
Sure.
So anybody who's said, "Oh, I'm already part of a class action," they can. We encourage them to still call us and to sign up for their own individual claims, which are, by far and away, usually worth much more than their class action claim.
Makes sense.
You had alluded to it earlier, and I'm a big advocate for doing hiring people local, using people local to the community, and people have been here for a while because they know our community, they know our culture, and to your point, you've been here for 50 years. You probably saw them shooting Suddenly with Frank Sinatra.
Right on the street.
But it is very important because, like you say, you kind of have your pulse on what's going on here and in the valley, and that. Have you had any kind of town hall or meeting or anything with the people over there?
You are absolutely right that we have been in this community. This is our neighborhood too. Our employees live here. We live here. I live down the street from here. And so we are affected. We are invested in this because it's our neighborhood, our families, our own health, our own property values. We want to make sure that everything that can possibly be done is taken care of. There are so many attorneys who are advertising for these cases. They are, of course, looking for clients.
Sure.
But if you are coming from downtown or Northern California, anywhere else, this is just another case.
Yeah.
This is not another case.
Right.
To me, I felt like, again, in the Porter Ranch gas leak case, and more recently there was some sandblast litigation in Stevenson Ranch. I get involved, and I have our firm get involved in cases that are meaningful to us. When I first came to Santa Clarita, I lived in Stevenson Ranch. That mattered to me.
Right.
I grew up in Chatsworth, which people in Chatsworth were part of the Porter Ranch litigation. So I wanted to make sure that we were taking care of our neighbors and our families and ourselves, our children.
I like that. You have an investment in this.
Absolutely.
Very good.
So the way they find you is
They can call us at 888-OPO-WINS, or they can go to our website at opolaw.com.
yeah, and 888 OPO wins or 888. Or, I'm sorry, 66174. The print isn't big enough. 888-749-78. Well, you hit that age where, they help a little bit, but they don't help a whole bunch. But anyway,
And it's the initials, OPO.
Oh,
Or go to
right.
hometownstation.com too. You can click on there, go directly to them from there as well.
yeah, but you'll be back. This isn't the only time
Oh, no, this
you'll
is
be here. So we
ongoing.
need to get regular updates
Yeah.
and find out what's going on and how people can get involved.
Absolutely. We love you guys.
Aw.
Yeah,
Feelings
were you out here
mutual.
dancing last night? They had the whole.
Did you go to the party, the kickoff to the
The
Cowboy
Cowboy
Festival?
Festival kicked
So-
off last night.
that's
and
so
there's-
fun.
There's still confetti and stuff out there, I think.
I'm
all
looking
over
forward
the
to going
place,
this
so.
weekend.
You know, I'm excited about the Cowboy Festival, and we will actually have a booth
Oh,
there.
good.
Oh,
But
so they can come ask you questions there.
absolutely. And we will actually be available if people want to sign up with us at the Cowboy Festival as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
Makes it easy. Go have fun. Go see how you can get on this case if you're
really,
affected.
get protected. Really, is what it's all about. Is making sure that you're covered. I know people that have had accidents or had incidents like this, and it doesn't affect them till 3
Right.
years down the road,
Right.
and you never think of it.
Yeah.
Again.
Don't know the long-term effects of this.
All right, so thank you, Suzy Owen and Cody Patterson from OPO Law. They will be back with us, I'm sure, soon.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks.
All right,
Thank
we're gonna
you.
give a
You want to hit?